I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Well, I'm a teacher at the University of Brasilia. I have a background in graphic design. I did my master's in Reading on typeface design. And now I work at the Faculty of Communication, teaching undergrad students. And I did this research during my doctoral studies. The main goal of this research was to develop a framework to work with this, the typography of these languages, so that we could have like guidelines for developing the development of fonts and keyboards, and also technical references for public policies, because we are way behind, like comparing with what Bridget just shown us. Brazil doesn't have a proper public policy for, it does have for indigenous languages, but not for writing technologies, like how to write these languages. So we have this huge amount of languages that we have to look at, and most of them are very, I think the language that has the greatest numbers of speakers, it's like 20,000, 30,000 people, so very low number of speakers in communities. And they're mostly isolated, like live in the north part of the Brazil, in the Amazon, so they're quite away from big centers. And the biggest issue with this, with most of these orthographies, is that they make use of composed characters to mark positioning and things that is not very straightforward to do with the cell phone, and especially with the Brazilian Portuguese keyboard. So that's the issue. For example, Guarani is a language that is spoken in Brazil, but it is also no official second language in Paraguay, and you get this kind of G with a tilde that you get to see in signage in the airport in Asunción in Paraguay. And then you need like a composed character to do this. So Brazilian keyboards and US keyboards don't do this kind of stuff, and I think most typefaces today don't have this technology to do this, this sort of thing. So this is an example of Guarani. You can see in the last line. You get also some bad rendering for this kind of glyphs, for these characters. So during my doctoral studies, I tried to make a systematic and updated cataloging of the orthographies of these languages, and also so that we could develop nicely designed typefaces and proper keyboard layouts for these languages. So this is my source of, let's say, kind of a source of inspiration, the work of John Hudson. I was in an environment while I was in Reading, like people trying to, while many people were like with sketching out nicely notebooks with nice calligraphy and stuff, I was looking at this kind of stuff, like boring and long spreadsheets. So, and this is the type of work that this is the type of work I ended up doing a lot during my PhD. So I started analyze, because it was very hard to have access to the communities. They are isolated. The linguists working with these languages, they are not in the place where I'm working. So I decided to look at primary sources to see the actual let's say, the actual state of the orthographies, how they are really writing. And for this cataloging, I used to look. This is a kind of book you have. It's very common to have Portuguese and a native language in the same book. So bridging is something crucial for the work. You need to do something that works both for Portuguese and the indigenous languages at the same time. And then I used to look at these languages with, so for each primary source, I have an entry, like in a software like Zotero, to document this publication. And for each book, we have a spreadsheet detailing what's in the what are the occurrences of diacritics in this in a given language. So I ended up with this huge amount of data that it's very useful not only for typeface design and keyboard development, but also for language documentation. So I ended up with this idea of 3 language groups. The first one is mostly basic Latin with every keyboard. I mean, Brazilian, US, or European keyboards, you can type these languages, very straightforward. So the second one, you have some additions to basic Latin that you can actually type because it's all encoded. All the characters are encoded characters. I mean, pre-composed encoded characters. And the third group, it's a bit more tricky because it uses like combined marks. So you need like something like dynamic composition. It's a bit more difficult. So this is the mapping I made for group 1. That is basic Latin, very straightforward. The second group is the largest, that we ended up with this character set. These are only the occurrences of diacritics in these languages. And group 3 is the most complex because it has a lot of mark-to-mark and how to say it? I forgot. Like substitution, so that you need some open type routines for this to work well. For example, I'll show some of them right on. So this kind of things you need to do for the things to work well. A lot of wide diacritics, especially tilde. So you need special shapes for the eye and for the. This typeface is Brasilica that I designed in Reading back in 2011-12, and I used this to illustrate the processes. So we have a lot of stacking as well, not in this group 3 especially. So we need a bit more compact diacritics for this thing to work well. I think this is an example of how compact they can be, especially because of clipping, like very high and very deep stuff will get clipped, like just as Bridget shown us. Proper anchors or attachment points for this, both for the letters and for the diacritics, so that it can work well. There are some glyphs, I mean some characters that have different shapes for the G, like the G stroke, that we can work out. It needs to be looked at to have the correct shape for this. Also, you get stuff like, for example, this uppercase, it's in one block of Unicode. And the lowercase U with a bar, it's on another block. So because it comes from IPA, from phonetics. So it can be tricky to encode this. But the most difficult one is this thing, and I think it deserves a Unicode proposal, which is the I stroke, because you need to, okay, I stroke is a character that is on IPA, but you need to strip the dot to put another thing on it. So it needs some intelligence on OpenType coding for this to work. And I ended up developing some keyboards as well. I tried to keep in mind that, well, the level of digital education in Brazil especially is very low. When it comes to remote places, it's even more difficult to deal with. So I tried to keep in mind that there is this Brazilian Portuguese keyboard that is the ABNT, is the acronym for the institution that takes care of technical issues in Brazil. And then you have this American keyboard that is, sorry, I missed. This is the US keyboard, right? And this is the Brazilian keyboard. So the blue keys shows where are the diacritics we use most. You can see that in Portuguese they're more accessible because these 5 or 6 diacritics are used a lot in Portuguese. So I tried to keep this in mind and to see how the less I could, I tried to stick to the original as much as possible. So I ended up working, for example, this is one of the, that combines the combining marks that I use, like macron, below and above, tilde below, and this U and I with a stroke. And I also did some customization on fonts. Calapi was my colleague in Reading, helped me a lot with this. So we took these 2 typefaces of Omnibus Type, type foundry from Argentina, run by Pablo Cosgay and Marcela Romero, his wife. And they are really interested in this type of customization for indigenous languages, as they are also South Americans. So we had this sans and a serif typeface. And then we ended up with this char set of indigenous characters. So this is the final result we have, and some samples of text samples of indigenous texts in the Faustina, that is the serif typeface, and Chivo, which is the sans one. These texts came from the Declaration of Human Rights, so you can find this. Some of these languages are already a bit more documented than others. And I will try to show here a small, allow me to show the, we missed the, yeah, sorry about that.
No, of course.
Oh, it's there, okay. So this is just a demo of how the keyboards work. I think this is the keyboard for group 3 that you need stacking, mark positioning, and this is how the typefaces work. We can make funny faces with this, but you know, my goal was while developing these keyboards was I need to stack anything on top of anything. So I tried to make a flexible typeface so that we could, I mean, not a flexible typeface, but like a system that you could actually type any diacritic on top of any letter or underneath it. So this is the this was my goal to while doing developing these tools. Okay. Sorry, guys, I'm a bit nervous with this very very important crowd here, and I'm very happy to be here with you. Let me just point out my email here. Let me see. Okay. Okay, and I thank you a lot.